Hey, my name is Petcu Alexandru. I'm a tattoo artist from Romania, and I have been tattooing for almost 9 years. I have been hanging with some older guys, like my brother's friends, and they had some nice tattooing on them, and they saw me that I was drawing a lot, and they pushed me to try tattoo. I started tattooing. I started getting interested in tattooing after I got my first tattoo at 16 or 17 years old, and it seemed like a nice ritual. And I started putting a lot of questions to that guy and started to learn about tattooing. I have learned tattooing by asking a lot of questions to this guy. His name is Rarish. He's also an artist back home, and he was kind enough to teach me and shared his knowledge. I started buying tattoo magazines from all over the world. Whatever I could find in Romania was like second-hand stuff, and reading books and some other fellow artists who were nice enough to share their stuff. The learning option was trying to get your hands on whatever you can find, like books, magazines, or DVDs, but that was later on, DVDs and movies with other artists working. I'm working now a realistic approach, but more painterly, artistically. I'm taking painter lessons back home, and I'm trying to be more realistic and colorful. I have gotten to try this style after I started taking lessons with the art teacher back home, and he introduced me to seeing color in such a different manner that made me think that maybe I can apply it into tattooing, and whoever gives me the trust, I'm trying to tattoo in that style. I have been trying all sorts of tattoo styles, being a resident in a couple of tattoo shops back home, and I was needed to try different styles, and I like that approach also, because when I started tattooing, I was trying to be happy whatever I could get my hands on tattooing, so I was doing like lettering, and I think I did like 3 tribals in my whole career or stuff, but I was happy to do them because I was so curious, and it made me really happy to see what's going on there. The evolution of the styles I went through was mainly based on the place where I was working back there, and I started like 16 years ago. I started working at home with my friends, and I had a lot to say about their designs. But when I started working in tattoo shops and paying my own rent and traveling and having to take care of myself, stuff started to be different. I mean, I had to do some tattooing to be able to live, and then I tried to be more artistic, and my styles were changing all the time. I started being happy to tattoo all the things I could get my hands on, and now, because lately I'm trying to evolve my artistic skills, drove me into changing my tattoo styles as well. I really enjoy realistic, and I'm aiming to do a realistic style. My situation now is that I've been a resident back home in a tattoo shop, and I stayed there for 2 years, and now I'm trying to go back on the road and travel a little bit. I think I need to interact with other artists and trying to expand the way I see tattooing. My future plan is to try to be more confident in my work, and trying to settle on a style that I really want to do, and trying to be more artist, doing my homeworks and doing more art, that could be interpreted as tattoos. My learning ways have been different because I've been trying to learn tattoo technique in some periods of time. Then I felt like I was lacking artistic skills. Now I'm trying to go back on the learning about painting more and colors. And I think the best way is to experience stuff. So meeting people also is a good way to learn. That's why I'm traveling again, but also studying at home. I think the best way to go in tattooing is having a good, solid artistic background and knowing drawing. Then I think tattoo technique is easy to learn. I started tattooing at home under my parents' roof, and my mother was really, she knew about it, my father knew about it, and my mother really pushed me to be really careful with hygiene, and she helped me with that. It's definitely a lot to learn, but I was careful with hygiene from the beginning. I think learning to talk with clients and trying to make them see your way, that is the stuff that I learned, needs to be learned. You need to be a psychologist and a tattooer, right? And an artist, so you can make them change their minds about that design they found on the internet, or you know how. When I see a good tattoo, and what I consider a good tattoo is something that is unique, an image that I never saw, and you can see that it's not inspired from. It comes from creativity, and it is a good technique, right? It's a good placement, a good. My creative approach is starting to change now, but I'm trying to find the right theme. Maybe I get a theme for a tattoo or a project, and I'm trying to get inspired from some artworks or some pictures. And I'm starting to draw after those pictures and see wherever it leads. Yeah, I start to draw and show the customers some sketches. They say no, I say okay. I start drawing again, they say no. My favorite kind of customer is a person who did his or her homework, and they know and they like what I do, and they come with a really distilled idea about what they want, not all those messy ideas thrown there in a small tattoo. I think the best way to get your tattoo is try to look at different artist portfolios. Try to go and meet them if you have time. Then try to introduce your ideas to the chosen artist, and definitely listen to him and see what he says about it. I would say no to tribals in the first stuff, and I would say no to big projects on people who do their first tattoo, because it's I think big projects are a big commitment, and you need a lot of time, and you need to be sure that you can get involved in something like that, so you don't get to have a big project in a long period of time when the artistic continuity is lost. If you want to see what I do, I think you can find me on Facebook on Alex Petcu artist page, and Smart Thumbs on Instagram.